At the core of our human experience are relationships. They are meant to bring us joy, support, comfort, love, and a sense of belonging. But what happens when the ones that you trust the most are the ones who bring you the most pain? What do you do when their presence brings you sadness that words cannot describe? Today on Reflections, we are talking the tough topic of toxic relationships. And joining me in the studio today is a very wonderful woman. She's the director of the Institute of Food Security, Environmental Resources, and Agricultural Research at the prestigious Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. She is also proudly the initiator of the Society for Grasslands Research and Development in Nigeria, which began in 2008. In addition to her really incredible portfolio, she's also an ardent enthusiast of conversations around relationships and marriage, and she has featured in a couple of television and radio shows as a discussant. It is my pleasure to introduce the very beautiful and ever radiant Professor Alaba Jolaosho. Thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
And despite a really difficult schedule, you made our time to be here. We really appreciate that.
Thank you, because I'm always after something that touch human lives.
Thank you so much. We are so happy to hear that. Now, today we are talking about, the topic today is handling toxic patterns in relationships. What would you define as a toxic relationship?
Thank you. When we talk about a relationship, we're talking about two people bonding to be able to share their feelings, share their joy, share, being together. And of course, there are different levels, which I won't different forms of relationship. We have the family one, we have professional, we have romantic, we have acquaintance. But when we talk about toxic, we are talking about let's look at a toxic person first. Somebody dishonest, jealousy, cheater, but will not accept it. That's why it's toxic. You feel drained when you are around that person. You feel unsure of yourself. You feel, am I the one bad? You understand? You feel, it's like there is always blame game. As if you are the one that is bad. So that's it drains. It actually drains one. It makes one to, you get tired. It can lead to even mental torture. It can lead, and some even get to the experience of physical torture. Some get to that level.
I was going to get to that, because some person's idea of toxicity in relationships is that it's okay until it becomes physical. So I was going to ask, is it until someone starts hitting you or gets physical with you that is when it becomes toxic? Because we know that the trajectory of toxicity in relationships is beyond romantic.
It's not busy.
I know of a lady who doesn't like to see her mother at all. If you mention her mother near her, she will tell you, I beg, please, I just don't want. That is in the family setting. So is it until it becomes physical that we can say this one is an abusive situation and it's not okay?
No. Because some may not be physical. Psychologically, the person may be going through. I knew of a case of the man just taking high blood pressure drugs.
Wow.
Until he died. And that one is not physical. You understand? The man was going through some torture within. And of course, I learned that it was the wife. But he didn't want to show, there is this funny thing about our culture. They will say, oh, a man should be strong. You don't talk. It's killing.
I like this angle that you just brought now. A lot of men are raised to be a man.
Yes, they will say be a man.
A man is not allowed to cry. Exactly.
When you better cry, so that your husband will tell you that, please cry. So that you will let out some of the burden. Not crying is killing. So please, it's not until all those one physical one, they are just even some of those extremes. There are some that are not physical, no beating, no nothing, and it's killing. You can hear a lot of people saying they take sniper. It's because they passed through some torture within that they didn't let out. Of course, it led to, psychological trauma, at times mental issue. Some people run mad. You can't know until they start talking. You say A, they say B. So many things. It's complicated if you're not careful, and it takes, you know, and when we talk about relation, you know, there are different office relationship.
Yes.
Your boss can be oppressing you, and you can't talk because it's your boss. You keep quiet. You just have to be absorbing it. You don't know what to do.
Even
In the home too.
Some parents are abusive.
Yes, some parents are.
It doesn't get to the point where they begin to beat you. Some parents go extremes when it comes to the well-being of their children. I've seen someone who ran away from home because his father was always comparing him with other persons.
It does
That is, to me, that is another level of being abusive in the family
There are
setting.
different types. Even some we said, because you're a female, you're worthless, you are this, they concentrate more. That was it's even common in the ancient time.
So
They concentrate more on the male.
let me cut in now. What are those signs that you see in a person, and then you tell yourself, this is a toxic situation and I can't stay here? In our modern day parlance, we call it red flags.
Red flag.
Whether in relationships, in the family, in the office setting, what are those red flags you see around you and you say, this is not okay?
Number one, if whatever you say, the person does not say anything good about it.
Always putting you
always
down.
putting you down. And when you are with the person, you feel uncomfortable. Please, it's a red flag. The person you will talk, the person will look and say, who is talking? Please, it's a red flag. You are a person, you are an individual. And maybe when they are sharing others up, when it comes to you, they don't share you up. There's something strange. Or another thing you will look at is that the person is always, having some friends. Well, let's talk about romantic one too. Different, when you look at different relationship. If it's a romantic one, you go and visit the person today. My sister is around. Everybody is a sister. Who is the real sister? You don't know you are here for a cheater. And you feel that you have won. Maybe you get pregnant. Maybe somehow they do the wedding. Maybe the man within him is thinking, oh, this one is a great catch. The mother is rich, the father is rich, or for whatever reason, you have entered into trouble. The person didn't know. That's part of it. That's the foundation.
So the women at that early stage are the red flags.
They are,
You should remove your slippers and run.
That's the red flag. And it can be the other side too. The woman, you know that the woman's parents, they are rich. You don't want to give her up. But yet, each time, it's like she's domineering. She's the one. Her own is the final word. You can't talk. We've seen some relationship that the man's personality and religion was changed. They changed the man's name even because he wants to marry a lady.
In this Nigeria?
Yes. True life story. True life story.
Guys.
True life story. True life story.
Okay.
The parents of the female, they are rich. And to him, it's a good catch. So, what is in the name? What is in the religion? People ignore some so-called minor tendency. Somebody today, you see the person that drove away the wife or whatever, you felt the woman is not good enough. That is why. That you are the better one. Now you go in and poke nose, and now you get trapped. So many issues. It's a bit on the complicated end, as complicated as human beings ourselves. Because we human beings, we have some complications within us. So those are the issues, and it's as diverse as the person. So when doing counseling and you ask, that's why we counsel on individual basis, and you ask some salient question, you will discover that some people knew about those things. Okay, about a case of a man, the man has a wife already, but because the woman did not have any issue, wanted to marry another person, and they were rushing. They want to marry in church, but they want to marry on a Thursday. They don't want any much counseling, So the counselor now said, wait a bit, something is strange. You are rushing too much. Now sent message for an investigation, on the ground investigation. Now discover that the man has been married for 10 years. No issue. Abandon the woman at home. Didn't tell the woman anything.
She didn't know he was getting married.
No. And the man now, the pastor now stopped the wedding and said, no, we are not continuing with this. So the lady, during the counseling, he now asked, because he'll be asking them, he said each time the man comes, he will say, oh, how is your family? the man that wants to marry felt the pastor is just getting at him anyhow. So he now said, I've gotten what I'm looking for. You are married. Your wife is so and so. You've been married for 10 years. So then the lady started crying. That means she knew. You know, some of these toxic things, some of the partners know. But they assume that, well, it may be better with them, or they are desperate.
Or they might just feel like, I can deal with this. Until the pattern continues and gets to the point where you can't take it anymore.
You can't take it.
So is it possible that you can control the extent to which toxicity gets to you? Or how to the extent to which it affects your well-being? Can someone really control that?
That one I will say yes and no. Because it depends on the individual. You understand? Because if a manipulative person, a toxic person is manipulative, meets another manipulative person, of course they will manipulate themselves out. So that's another thing we look at. But so on that note, if the manipulative person meets the other manipulative person, you can say, okay, maybe she or he controls the situation. You understand now? But if it's not that, you know, it can get to a psychological problem with the other person.
Let me ask this question really quickly.
Okay.
How does a person's background or upbringing shape their lives? You know, how does that breed? Yeah, how does it groom toxic tendencies in a person?
Thank you very much. Believe you me, whatever character adults have start from childhood. Even I almost say start from pregnancy. You understand? You know, because we indulge our children. If you indulge the child, you're already grooming that toxic relationship.
I'm asking this because, like, in the family setting, some persons will say, let me just stay in this situation, especially when it comes to marriages. Let me just stay because of the children. And then they stay there.
Stigma.
Yes, and then they stay there, and the situation, the environment begins to rub off on the children.
Yes,
I've seen that happen a lot of times.
It happens.
You are staying because of the children, and at the end of the day, the children get damaged in the process. Now, let's talk about.
You know why I say yes and no?
Okay.
I've seen the one that is like that, and some of the children made up their mind. My home will not be like this. That's the other side. Like, I made up my mind that, look, I must marry well. That if it wouldn't be good married, then don't let me marry. Because I've seen people that pass through some traumatic situation. I was trying to tell you earlier, my mom, okay, it was offline, it wasn't,
yes.
Will make pounded yam for, cucumber and the mistress, and kneel down and give them. And she was just telling me, for my own life's sake. At a point, she did a bit of a separation because it was getting on her. She stayed, but yet they continue. At least they survive till the two of them now are late. Of course, she died at over 100.
Wow.
My father at 90. They were all able to manage. But these days it's not like that again. But these days the people are more sensitive now than that time. Although I don't know whether there are people that are able to manage now. So some of us saw it. Some people, well, it rubbed on them. They felt, look, this is okay.
But the goal should be to break the cycle.
It's better. That's the best.
The cycle of toxicity.
That's the best.
It should not continue to the next generation.
It should
At
not.
least not your own generation.
No, at all.
On a very final note.
So you can decide to break it too. And the people involved, maybe through counseling, can decide to break it.
Okay.
So many.
Okay, ma. So on a final note now, how do we create a culture that encourages and supports victims of abuse? You know, instead of the prevalent situation of blaming and shaming them.
Thank you very much. When we talk about we are, well, I'm glad that things are changing in our society. Number one, we have organizations that listen to people that are passing through one difficult situation or the other. I'll give an example of rape. Before, if any young girl mentioned that she was raped, everybody would say, shut up.
Of course. It's a thing of shame.
Even go and marry the person that did it. Especially the person get pregnant. No matter the age of the child.
I saw that a lot growing up.
Go and marry the person by force. So, but now we see that you can speak to some organizations, they will pick it up. and even government organizations, which to me is a great joy to me. And this kind of program you are doing is eye-opener to people that, look, if you're passing through things, there are people that you can speak to, that you can speak with, that we listening to you, and we give you way out. And that things are not totally bad after all, so you don't give up. Then let's look at the angle of the other person hurting others. That is the toxic person, the person the perceived do we know that those ones who are passing through some things? Nobody wants to be bad, because until they realize why people are leaving them, is because some people don't have regular relationship because of their attitude, which they don't know. Like now, they get a girlfriend, the girlfriend goes away because they notice that before the person kill me, let me go away. You run for your life. Run for your life. So when they now discover that, look, it's like there is an issue, but if you don't let them, if somebody don't help them out, they may not know. Like somebody that is that's why some people go into drugs. Some of these people even kill themselves because as time goes on, they feel worthless, they feel life is not fair on them, they feel everybody hates them, they have some psychological issues, it can lead to even mental issue. Such kind of person, there's somebody to look for them, listen to them, check whether they have developed some mental issues over time, or whether they are even into drugs, because all those things don't just come. I discovered that some of those negative tendencies don't just come.
Which is what we talked about, past experiences, past upbringing. It don't just come. It's been over time. Maybe acquired, maybe from learned, maybe absorbed from somewhere. So by the time we should handle both sides. But my last note will be, while you're handling the toxic person, the other person at the other end should run for their life, Sha.
Yes, there is need for.
Save your head
we
first.
Tell people for need of separation. Like people allowing themselves to be killed. I use the word allowing themselves to be killed. It's not good enough, because there's no second life. You have only one life. It doesn't want it allowing one's life to be wasted. Because some of these cases lead to wasted life. Let's be frank with ourselves.
It happens quite too often.
Even if it's professional. You feel today your boss is on you, tomorrow you don't know where else to go. Even such kind of people, they don't sack the person. If they sack you, you are sacked, you move on with your life. Some don't even sack.
There's quite a lot to talk about around this issue, but time will not let us. Thank you so much, Ma, for coming around and for doing justice to this topic. I'm hoping to have you some other time.
Thank you.
For us to talk more on issues like. So that is all that we have for this week's episode of Reflections. It was sure a good time with you. Thank you so much for hanging out there. If you want to see more of conversations like this, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all of our social media pages. It will be great to have you back here again. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.